I've had my own experiences of being around a certain type of, a certain group of men who exhibit groupthink.
Hot tea, hot tea, hot tea, hot tea, hot tea.
Okay, the third season of Melyssa Ford's much-awaited podcast, Hot and Bothered, debuted tonight with an incredible episode. Can you guess who was her first visitor? After a lengthy hiatus from the Joe Budden podcast, guess how Melyssa Ford began her entire breakout season? She began with none other than the god Charlamagne. Here are Charlamagne and Melyssa discussing all of the poisonous men she had previously worked with. Who is she referring to, I wonder? Make sure you subscribe and like the video.
These four young black boys. I can't remember what the podcast is called right now, but I mean.
Oh, you're talking about
it starts with a J.
Jamming or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, they're from Chicago, I think.
I love them. I love them because it's just, they take men and brosphere and red pillars to task, and their rhetoric is so respectful towards women, and they just have so much common sense for being so young. So I follow them. I follow Deontay Kyle. I definitely have an algorithm full of men that are allies to women. But I will also find myself in the comment section of certain things, and it's just it's very polarizing, and it pulls you. And especially, I've had my own experiences of being around a certain type of, a certain group of men who exhibit groupthink. And that groupthink tends to lean very misogynistically. So it has an effect on you, as somebody who's just kind of like absorbing it, simply just because I'm a woman and I'm the woman in the room kind of thing. It's just...
I listen, are there fuck boys out here? Yes, but I still believe in the circle of trust of humans. And I believe that the shooting percentage when it comes to the circle of trust of humans is still very, very high in spite of all the bullshit. And what do I mean by that? We wake up every day, every single one of us, and we trust that we're not gonna go crazy. I don't know none of these people in this room, but one of these motherfuckers could go crazy and fuck up the whole day for everybody. You could go to freaking Dunkin' Donuts and order a coffee, and it's that one person in the back who might decide, I'm gonna put some fucking, fentanyl or arson in her shit. Or you might get in the car with the Uber driver and that person decides to run off the road. My point is, we don't think about that type of stuff. You don't go into Dunkin' Donuts and think somebody's gonna put arson into your fucking drink. You don't order the Uber and jump in the car and think this person's gonna run me off the highway. You don't walk in rooms with perfect strangers and be like, okay, who's gonna be the person that shoots this shit up? So there's a circle of trust that exists amongst humans. And in spite of all of the bullshit, we do pretty good at making sure that all of us are safe and protected. So I can't base everything off, just the bullshit. Now, do I, raise my daughters with that mentality? Yes, but I also let them know to be aware. Just like right now, I'm aware. I wouldn't walk in here with my own shooter if I wasn't aware. You know what I'm saying?
Once more, I believe that many people are speculating that Melyssa is criticizing the Joe Budden show at this point. Listen to this section again.
I've had my own experiences of being around a certain type of, a certain group of men who exhibit groupthink. And that groupthink tends to lean very misogynistically. So it has an effect on you, as somebody who's just kind of like absorbing it, simply just because I'm a woman and I'm the woman in the room kind of thing. It's just...
Simply, when I released the video yesterday, I thought, hey, look, Melyssa might be working with Charlamagne, the guy. I'm not sure if this podcast verified that Hot and Bothered is a part of the Black Effect Network. I'll take a short look at the webpage. Additionally, it appears from some studies that Melyssa Ford did not sign the Black Effect. Perhaps she is in communication with Charlamagne. Perhaps she still owes Joe Budden something under their contract. Who knows? However, it appears that she is currently pursuing her own interests. Returning to what I said when I posted the video yesterday, however, I noticed that many women and even some men expressed in the comments section that they thought Melyssa was constantly dogpiling in specific Joe Budden podcast episodes. Admittedly, I would concur. However, do I believe that perhaps she was attempting to break free from a particular discourse and that the guys present simply didn't want her to portray males in a particular way? Indeed. Therefore, I do believe that there were moments when she was merely attempting to portray males in a particular way and they weren't interested. And given her brief encounter with Cameron and the remarks she made about him, I can see why they would be offended by that. And it appeared that Melyssa was incorrect about it, according to everyone on the planet. All right? Indeed, it is accurate. However, there were moments when they prevented Melyssa from thinking clearly. They occasionally dogpiled on Melyssa because they believed she was heading in a particular direction. There were moments when I could see her on video and even hear her voice, and I could tell she was uneasy and didn't feel like she was in a place where she could voice her ideas. Additionally, I think that over time, she kind of conformed to the room, which is why she stopped stating some things or perhaps didn't go into as much detail about a subject because she didn't want to argue with other pod members. People claim that she was being bullied because of something that was happening to her. Some individuals claim that she was the target of Queen's flip, which was extremely rude to her and may have caused awkwardness in the room. Overall, though, I would agree that she wasn't in the most loving, caring environment at the Joe Budden podcast. Additionally, individuals frequently discuss how they used to refer to her as a sister. When listening to or seeing the podcast, some people would comment that it didn't seem like a brother-sister connection. And I'll ask all of you that. Tell me in the comments, did they feel like siblings? Did Melyssa feel like a sister to them? Occasionally, but not always, I would say. As you can see, Joe has previously dealt with women employed by the Joe Budden Network. Additionally, I recall Joe discussing the classes they had to take to ensure that they were treating women in the workplace in a particular manner. Additionally, I think Joe has made significant progress from the podcast's start in terms of how they address issues on the show. However, I do believe that Joe and the other members of the pod should take some accountability by at least admitting, hey, maybe we didn't facilitate the most comfortable workplace for this particular woman.
I can't speak for everyone because I see Mona up there right now. Don't call me a white girl. To be honest, I'll simply say it. Because of her upbringing on the streets, I believe Mona enters the room believing that all of the men are squares and lame. Not from the standpoint of success, but you know, when you're from the streets and you can tell someone else isn't, that's how Mona looks at everyone in that room. Nobody on that podcast intimidates her. You can tell by the way she speaks, walks, and swaggers. Out-talking someone doesn't concern her. Going back and forth with someone doesn't matter to her. She doesn't give a damn about screaming with Queen's flip. Furthermore, I don't believe Melyssa was able to provide that level of enthusiasm. And occasionally, in a room full of males, I think, regretfully, you have to exert that kind of energy. You have to act like a fierce chick. The girl who can hang out with the boys and go out for drinks like Coors Light and beer. I'm not sure. Do you understand what I mean? And I believe that's how Mona and Melyssa are different. I'm wishing Melyssa all the best, and I agree with many of the commenters who remarked, look, it's just business. Does she have any loyalty to Joe Budden? Most likely not. Additionally, if we want to argue, oh, Melyssa is fake for working with Charlamagne, I have to go back and consider Marissa, who first appeared on the Joe Budden program. Additionally, there's a whole footage from Hot 97 in which they checked on Joe Budden after he fired her and did some strange things. He didn't have a formal discussion about firing her from the podcast. Many people said, hold on, that's fake, as they glanced at Joe. This girl shared all of these stories on your platform, which initially contributed to the podcast's viral success. I won't lie, when I first listened to the Joe Budden podcast, it was because of all the bizarre stories Marissa was sharing. She talked of mistreating celebrities, going to hotel rooms, and flying abroad, among other things. At the time, I thought, oh my God, here's a look into the industry. Do you understand what I mean? And Joe also shared similar information, discussing his life, but this woman was disclosing all the graphic facts and how messed up this fly you culture is. Then, for whatever reason, Joe just fired her without conducting business properly or even expressing gratitude for the contribution she made to the podcast. In that case, some might argue that he owed her some loyalty. I can't pretend that I haven't witnessed Joe do it in the past. You know, the way he let go of Rory and Mal is still a source of controversy. I don't find it problematic at all. I believe that many of the fans overlook the fact that Rory and Mal frequently arrive at the podcast unprepared. However, I won't pretend that they didn't add anything to the pod. However, we can still claim that Joe tends to not always be loyal to former podcast participants. Tell me what you guys think about this. Subscribe and like the video. I'll see you all again soon. Tranquility.